Hi, this is Dr. Darren Schmidt, and in the last 9 days I've been through 4 days of training on ketosis, and I've listened to maybe 11 different speakers. I've met some of those brilliant people in the healthcare field, and I'm going to go over some of that information in a summary right here. So what I have is steps to ketosis, and there's a lot of information, like there's the Charlie Foundation, and they're talking about epilepsy and how to get into ketosis. There's people talking about intermittent fasting, and that helps get into ketosis. And there's people who talk about just doing low carb, you can be a vegan, low carb, getting into ketosis. There's a lot of information that can scatter your thought process on what ketosis is. And but one thing I've come to realize, especially at this last seminar I attended through Low Carb USA, the guy who's in charge of Low Carb USA, his name is Doug Reynolds. He's trying to start a movement in the United States, and in places like Australia, they call it banting. When you go into fat burning mode, they call it banting, and it's named after Mr. Banting, who wrote the first book ever on ketosis. And at the time, they didn't call it that, but that book is called A Letter on Corpulence from 1860. So if you're in Australia and people ask you, "Are you banting?" That means are you in fat burning mode and getting healthier. So here's the steps to ketosis. If you're a brand new patient with me, this step one would be taking in tablespoons of oil. So I have a video on this. It's called Healthy Fats for You to Consume. And this examples of tablespoons of oil would be like melted butter, coconut oil, avocado oil, olive oil. Those are some examples. They're just easy and measured. So you know, like 1 tablespoon is 14 grams of fat. If you do 6 tablespoons of oil, that's 84 grams of fat. And then you can use that in the ratios. I have a video on this called How Much Ketosis. So you can look at that video for more details. So step number 2 is low carb. So this is for a brand new person. You may already be doing this, but for a brand new person, tablespoons of oil, and then low carb. Let me show you what low carb looks like. It's very simple. If you're doing 60 grams of carbs per day, and it's all vegetables, because vegetables are way healthier than grains, and fruit is high in carbs, but a smart low carb diet would be mostly vegetables. Subtract out the fiber, and now you're left with, let's say, 30 to 40 grams of carbs per day. And that's what a low carb diet looks like, 30 to 40 grams of carbs, because you subtract out the fiber. And this right here would be like 3 nice salads right there. Okay, step number 3 is now you're in ketosis, and you're playing with the ratios. Again, the ratios are in my video I did just recently called How Much Ketosis. And so step number 4 then would be intermittent fasting. So you can be in ketosis and not be fasting. And this is what the Charlie Foundation uses. They just do ratios, and they use that format to get epileptic kids into ketosis. They're still eating 3 meals a day. Okay, if you want to know about the Charlie Foundation, just look them up. Okay, so intermittent fasting means you're still eating every day. And then block fasting would be like you're skipping a full day. Like you go dinner, like every day you have dinner, and that's it. That'd be a form of like closer to block fasting. Or you could do 4-day block fasting. Or you could do a week of water fasting, no fat, no carbs, no protein. And Thomas Seyfried, the incredible cancer researcher, says if everybody did a 1-week water fast once a year, the rates of cancer would drop 99% nationwide. So there's the steps to ketosis. And in this order, it took me a year to figure this out. Researching, studying, reading books, going to seminars. It took me a year to put it into this format. So you can get into ketosis without doing any fasting, but yet fasting has its own benefits. You can do fasting and not do any tablespoons of oil and still get into ketosis. They're different therapies, but the end result is the same, and here's the end result. You want to lower the insulin. So at the seminar that I just attended this past weekend, there were 10 speakers, and there was a new conclusion. The goal is not necessarily to raise ketones, because you can take ketone supplements and it doesn't get the end final result of lowering insulin. That's the problem. So insulin is like the marker for what's called metabolic mayhem. All the altered physiology going on in the body. As long as you get that insulin down, then the metabolic mayhem goes away. And that's, brilliant. There's something that's needed to do if you're sick, if you're chronically ill. And then you also have to address lactic acidosis, so I got the videos on that. So there you go. I just wanted to share this with you because it's taken me a year or more to figure this out. It goes in this order, like that. But you can do one before you do the other. But if you are brand new at this, you start here, and then you work your way up. You may work up to 6 tablespoons if you need to. If you're smaller, if you're 100 pounds, you might only need 2 tablespoons. I just had one of my employees, she got into ketosis. It took her 2.5 weeks, and she increased her fat by 1.5 tablespoons of butter per day. That's all it took, and she got into ketosis. So low carb I described to you. I got the video on how much ketosis to figure this out, figure out the ratios. And then I got videos on fasting. All right, there's the bigger picture right there.